Hi everyone, I'm Natalie and I was given the topic of culture. Culture is a way of life. Culture is a shared value and beliefs and the norm of what people believe and live by. Communication, learning, and blending of all cultures is a great way to understand and respect all. Have you ever felt cultural shock? I certainly have. Before I moved to the small town of Genoa, Illinois, I lived in the suburbs in Chicago. When I first came to the school in Genoa, I first noticed a big difference in the size of the school and how many kids there were. I was used to seeing a huge gym full of all sorts of kids from all different backgrounds. But when I moved to a more rural area, I found that everyone seemed to have the same values and same beliefs. I also found that those that were used to having many different kids in their class were more accepting than those that were used to the same kids all the time. Did you know that intercultural communication refers to the interaction that occurs between different people from different cultural backgrounds? Luckily, in the United States, we have so many different cultures and cultural backgrounds that when we meet someone, we aren't as shocked as if we went to another country where they all are used to the same people that believe the same thing. Culture is a way of life. I personally have felt both sides of culture from in my own family. I know that in a Mexican culture is different than the other side of my family, which is American culture. I'm lucky enough to learn both. For me, I was able to learn from my family. For example, just the different things that were made for dinner are extremely different. Although, also, the way we greet everyone is different from different cultures. First, I will describe how communication alters and affects the norm of each culture. Second, I will examine how each culture is different and how we can learn from them. Third, I will discuss how the blending of each culture is more common than you may think and how it can help our future. With communication, we are able to understand why we do the things that we do within our communities or our homes. Communication is a bigger part of culture than you may think. Communication is the way that we learn and grow. Communication is the way we are taught within our own cultures, according to chapter 3 of our textbook. If there wasn't communication, we wouldn't know the different dining rituals, such as eating with chopsticks, eating with forks and knives, or even using our fingers when eating. Cultures are also altered from communication by the way we learn to address people within a certain culture, according to taylorandfrancis.com. For example, some learn to address the older generation by Miss and Mr. And now that may have changed for some. For example, you may just call them by their first name. Culture is also the first way we learn to communicate with each other. We learn what is acceptable to say within different age groups. For instance, in a Mexican culture, we respect the elder and those that are older than us. Although communication is such a big part of understanding each culture, just wanting to know and learn how others live and grow as people is just as important. Have you ever thought of learning and coming familiar with other cultures can make us grow and respect everyone? When thinking of learning of different cultures, you might think of it as just you learning about others. But when you meet others and hear their stories, you also get to share your story and where you came from. And you might even find some similarities, as stated by leselfieinternational.com. With learning at a young age opens up the mind of different ways of doing things and finding the understanding of why someone might do the things that they do. It's important for our diverse world of today. Just as we may think that communication and learning different cultures help us grow as people, we also need to understand how to merge cultures and ideas together, and how common it is already in our world. You may think, yes, the United States has so many different culture merging together, just by the restaurants that are here for everyone to enjoy and to experience different foods that have originated from other countries. Also, in more ethnic restaurants, you may have seen symbols of pictures and statues. Also, with the merging of cultures, we need to be able to understand the importance of it, such as with the way that certain people live and what they believe. We shouldn't judge others if we don't want to be judged, according to culturalconflict.com. I remember in school when someone would bring a lunch that wasn't the typical sandwich and chips, and they would feel embarrassed. Those around them should be open minded and remind them that it's okay to be different. The way communication alters and affects how each culture is different and how blending of each is more common than you may think, it will help us learn to better our future. After thinking of the way culture shapes our lives, I hope you learn the way communication and how learning about other cultures of those around you, you can help you grow as a person. As we learn, we are able to see the merging of cultures within our own eyes.